Hello friends, welcome back again to my channel. Today we will discuss the second chapter of your supplementary reader Vistas. The chapter is titled as The Tiger King by Kalki Krishnamurthy. This is part first of the video. In this part we will discuss the general introduction of the chapter, some word about the author, then we will read the theme of the chapter. We will discuss the main characters of the chapter, which will come in between the text. Then we will go through the original text of this chapter. In the second video, we will go through a summary of the whole chapter through a mind map, and then we will see questions and answers which have appeared in the CBSE question papers. Recently I made a complete video of this chapter comprising all the sections, but the video was quite lengthy. It was of 1 hour and 20 minutes. So I'm going to make this video again in 2 parts for your convenience, so that it will be easy for you to revise the chapter or to download it easily as well. Let us have a word about the author first. Kalki Krishnamurthy, the author, was a Tamil writer. He was a journalist, poet, critic and freedom fighter also. He is best known by his pen name Kalki. His works comprise 120 short stories, 5 novels, 3 historical romances, some editorials and political writings, biographies, travelogues, and so many films and drama reviews as well. Through his writings, Kalki has the magical power to transport the author to the times of the story. In this story, we will also be rolled back to the time of the British rule in India. Let us have a look at the theme. The theme of the chapter is that this story is about a king in the British time, and the king is not at all working for the benefit of the people or its subjects, but he is always busy in some mad pursuit or mad hobby. He is quite cruel towards the animals, because at the time of his birth a prediction was made by the chief astrologer that his death will occur by a tiger, and later on it was revealed by the same astrologer that the death will come from the 100th tiger number 100. So he can kill 99 tigers, but the 100th tiger will be the reason, the cause of his death. In the chapter, in the concluding part of this chapter, we will notice that nature, the mother earth, takes its revenge upon the king, and the king ultimately dies. The main characters in this story, I have seen that only 3 main characters that are of prime importance: the Tiger King himself, the chief astrologer who has made the prediction, he will appear for the 2 times, and lastly Diwan, the minister of the king. These 3 are the prominent characters. Other than these 3, there are some other characters as well. The hunters are there, a British officer and his wife is there. So these 2 or 3 main characters are of chief concern, which are mentioned here. So let us read the text, and we will know that how cruel the man is towards the wild animals and the mother earth, the nature. Nature is quite revengeful. It will take its revenge. Whenever you will destroy the nature, nature will take its revenge upon you. The same has been depicted here in the chapter. So let us read the text, and we will know the same facts. The chapter is written in a humorous way. The situation, the problem we are discussing here is of a great concern, but the language, the tone of the chapter is full of humor. It will make you laugh sometimes because the language used here is full of humor. So let us read. Friends, before reading the text, this is the glossary of some difficult words you can note down, so it will be quite easier for you to read the text, understand the facts easily. You can take a screenshot of all these words and their meanings. You can pause here the video and take the screenshot. This is the third page. This is the fourth page. And this one is the last one. So now let us read the text. So this is the text of the chapter. The writer has briefly discussed the aim of writing this chapter, that is to show the cruelty of general attitude of human beings towards wild animals. We will discuss the attitude of human beings towards wild animals, especially the tiger. The Maharaja of Pratibandhpuram is the hero of the story. He may be identified as His Highness Jamidar General Kiledar Major Satyagraha Samrahi Maharaja Dhiraj Vishwabhuvan Samrat Sir Jilani Jang Jang Bahadur MAD ACTC or CRCK, but this name is often shortened to the Tiger King. This is the name of the king, but his short name is the Tiger King. I have come forward to tell you why he came to be known as Tiger King. I have no intention of pretending to advance, only to end in a strategic withdrawal. I will not take you to a strategic withdrawal, to the end of the story. I will not tell you the end. Even the threat of a Stook bomber will not throw me off the track. Stook bomber. Stook was an aircraft which was used in Second World War. It will not throw me off the track. The Stook, if it likes, can beat a hasty retreat from my story. Hasty retreat. Hurriedly, it can go away. It can fastly remove from my story itself. Right at the start, it is imperative to disclose a matter of vital importance about the Tiger King. Imperative, essential. Everyone who reads to him will experience the natural desire to meet a man of his indomitable courage face to face. Indomitable means which cannot be defeated. He is having such a courage. We would like to meet such a person who is having courage to kill 100 tigers, but there is no chance of its fulfillment because he is no more now. It is a story about a king who was on this earth years before or centuries before. As Bharat said to Ram about Dashrath, the same had happened with Bharat, the king Bharat, who was there in the forest to convey the message of his father's death. His father Dashrath. Dashrath word itself means that Dashrath is the name of a person who has killed a tiger with his bare hands. The Tiger King has reached that final abode residence. Final abode means the heaven. Final abode of all living creatures. In other words, the Tiger King is dead. The manner of his death is a matter of extraordinary interest. It can be revealed only at the end of the tale. The most fantastic aspect of his demise was that as soon as he was born, astrologers had foretold that one day the Tiger King would actually have to die. His death is of vital importance, his death demise. It is a fantastic aspect because at the time of his death, his birth, it was predicted that his end will be caused by a tiger. The child will grow up to become the warrior of warriors, hero of heroes, champion of champions, but the speaker stopped here. These inverted commas are used in writing when we are to quote some person's words as it is. They bit their lips and swallowed hard. They stopped their speech, but when they have been compelled to continue, the astrologers come out with it. Means there are so many astrologers, not a single astrologer, and there is a chief of them. This is a secret which should not be revealed at all, and yet we are forced to speak out. The child born under this star will one day have to meet its death. We are the mortals, and we will die someday or the other. So this is not a fortune telling. This is not a matter of pretending that the child who is born now will someday die. At that very moment, a miracle took place. An astonishing phrase emerged, spoke out by from the lips of the 10-day-old Jilani Jangjang Bahadur. When the Tiger King was a newborn baby, he was of only 10 days. He started speaking, and he spoke, "O wise prophets!" Everyone stood transfixed. Everybody was confused, not in a position to move anywhere. They were all stupefied, transfixed, and in stupefaction because they were not in a position to think. They looked wildly at each other and blinking. They were making some signals with their eyes. They were searching for the person who is speaking. Then again the voice was there. "O wise prophet, it was I who spoke." This time there were no grounds for doubt. It was the infant born just 10 days ago who had spoke the words so clearly. The chief astrologer took off his spectacles and gazed intently at the baby. He looked at the baby. "All those who are born will one day have to die. We don't need your predictions to know that. There would be some sense in it if you could tell us the manner of that death. If you could tell us the manner of that death, this will be of some sense." The royal infant uttered these words in his little squeaky voice, squeaky, crying when you are in anger and you are making a cry, squeaky voice. The chief astrologer placed his fingers on his nose in wonder. A baby barely 10 days old opens his lips in speech. Not only that, it also raises intelligent questions. It is incredible, rather like the bulletins issued by the War Office than facts. The chief astrologer took his finger off his nose and fixed his eyes upon the little prince. The prince was born in the hour of the bull. The bull and the tigers are enemies. Therefore, death comes from the tiger. He explained after making some calculations that the child is born in the hour of the bull, and bull and tigers are enemies. So his death would be caused by a tiger. You may think that Crown Prince Jangjang Bahadur was thrown into a quake, fear. You may be thinking that the Prince Jangjang Bahadur was feared of that when he heard the word tiger. That was exactly what did not happen. As soon as he heard it pronounced, the Crown Prince gave a deep growl. Terrifying words emerged from his lips. He growled, and made these words, "Let tigers beware, I am coming. Tigers, beware of me." This account is only a rumor in Pratibandhapuram. This is a rumor, but with hindsight. Hindsight means when you are able to know the conclusion of some incident in advance. We will see at the end of the story that this kind of rumor looks like the facts. We may conclude it was based on some truth. In the second part of this chapter, we will know that this Crown Prince Jang Bahadur, now he has been crowned as the Tiger King, and he has started his tiger killing. Crown Prince Jang Bahadur grew taller and stronger day by day. No other miracle marked his childhood days apart from the event already described. Other than the events already described, nothing happened. The boy drank the milk of an English cow. He was brought up by an English nanny, tutored in English by an Englishman, saw nothing but English films, exactly as the crown princes of all the other Indian states did. When he came of age at 20, the state which had been with the coat of wards until then came into his hands. Until then, his kingdom was under the rule of the court of wards. Court of wards was an agency which was created by the East India Company to look after the states whose heirs or the next forthcoming kings are minors. Until then, they are young enough, they are grown up enough to handle the affairs of the state. So his state was also under the supervision of the court of wards. These were the East India Company officials. Until then came into his hands. Now the prince is quite grown up and the throne was given to him. But everyone in the kingdom remembered the astrologer's prediction. Many continued to discuss the matter. Slowly it came to the Maharaja's ears. But some persons in his state were having the knowledge of the prediction that was made at the time of his birth when he was of 10 days only. There were innumerable forests in the Pratibandhapuram state. They had tigers in them. The Maharaja knew the old saying, "You may kill even a cow in self-defense." Cow is considered to be a holy animal, and even if you can kill a cow in self-defense, then there is no objection if you are killing a tiger. There could certainly be no objection to killing tigers in self-defense. The Maharaja started out on a tiger hunt at once, without thinking with the welfare of the people of his state, without thinking over the issue of natural disaster. He started tiger hunting. The Maharaja was thrilled beyond measure when he killed his first tiger. He sent for the state astrologer, called the state astrologer and showed him the dead beast. He showed him the dead body of the animal and asked him, "What do you say now?" He demanded. "Your Majesty may kill 99 tigers in exactly the same manner." But the astrologer drawled, said in a low tone, low voice, "But what? Speak without fear. But you must be very careful with the 100th tiger." The Tiger King has been warned by the astrologer to be very much aware of the tiger number 100. What if the 100 tiger were also killed? Then again Tiger King asked him that if he kills the 100 tiger, what will happen then? Then I will tear up all my books. He is challenging the king that he will tear all his books on astrology, set fire to them, and I shall cut off my tuft, crop my hair short, and become an insurance agent. He will leave his profession of prophecy making and he will become an insurance agent by burning all his books on astrology. The astrologer finished on an incoherent note. Incoherent means which is illogical, because you can imagine, you can see from this sketch that this prophet, chief astrologer, is quite old, and killing 100 tiger means it will take years to complete the task, and in between he knows that his death will certainly occur. So it is incoherent. Note is incoherent, illogical. There is no logic in this note. Now in the third section we will see that how the Tiger King is set for his goal, and he is hunting tigers to complete the task of 100 killings. From that day onwards, it was celebration time for all the tigers inhabiting Parthibandapuram. The state banned tiger hunting by anyone except Maharaja. A proclamation, government or official orders, announcements was issued to the effect that if anyone dared to fling so much as a stone at a tiger, all his wealth and property would be confiscated, would be deposited into the government funds. If anyone seen throwing so much as a stone even. So tigers are celebrating there. It is a celebration time for all the tigers there. The Maharaja took an oath. He would attend to all other matters only after killing the 100 tigers. Initially, the king seemed well set to realize his ambition. He is to complete his ambition. Actually, the king is to work for the welfare of the society, welfare of his subject, his people, his state. But here, from these lines, you can realize the actual situation that the king is mad to follow his hobby, or you can say his mad ambition to kill 100 tigers, and then only he will take up any other task related with the state. Note that he faced no dangers. There were times when the bullet missed its mark, the tiger leaped upon him, and he fought the beast with his bare hands. Each time it was the Maharaja who won. There were times when Tiger King was in danger, because the tiger is a dangerous animal, a savage beast. But every time the Maharaja who won and killed the tiger. At another time it was in danger of losing his throne. A high-ranking British officer visited Parthibandapuram. He was very fond of tiger hunting and fonder of being photographed with the tigers. A British officer came to Parthibandapuram and asked the Tiger King that he will go for tiger hunting, but the problem is that the king has issued the orders that nobody will kill tigers except the Maharaja, and he was very much strict towards the orders issued by him. As usual, he wished to hunt tigers in Parthibandapuram, but the Maharaja was firm in his resolute in his decision. He refused permission. I can organize any other hunt. You may go on a boar hunt. You may conduct a mouse hunt. We are ready for a mosquito hunt. Any other type of hunt you can organize, but tiger hunt, that is impossible. The British officer's secretary sent word to the Maharaja through Diwan that the Durai himself did not have to kill the tiger. Another option is there put by the British officer that he will not kill the tiger. Actual killing could be done by the Maharaja himself, but he wants only a photograph with the dead body of the tiger. The Maharaja could do the actual killing. What was important to the Durai was a photograph of himself holding the gun and standing over the tiger's carcass, the dead body. Durai here means it is a Tamil word which means the chief or the highest official. The Durai was a photograph of himself holding the gun. The actual wish of the British officer is that he wants a photograph with the dead body of the tiger holding a gun. But the Maharaja would not agree even to this proposal. If he relented, Maharaja thinks that if he is relaxed at this time, other British officers, they will also demand for such type of tiger hunts whenever they will visit Pratibandhapuram. Because he prevented a British officer from fulfilling his desire, the Maharaja stood in danger of losing his kingdom. Now he is in danger of losing his kingdom because he has refused the British officer. So what should be done now? So Maharaja made some deliberations, meetings over this issue, this problem. As a result, a telegram was dispatched forthwith to a famous British company of jewelers in Calcutta and sent some samples of expensive diamond rings of different designs. It was ordered that 50 rings as samples of expensive diamond ring, so that one or two may be selected and the rest will be sent back. Some 50 rings arrived. The Maharaja sent the whole lot to the British officers. Good lady, the king and the minister expected the Durai Sani, the wife of the British officer, to choose one or two rings and send the rest back. But the lady sent her note of thanks for these 50 rings. She accepted all the 50 rings as a gift. Within no time at all, Durai Sani sent her reply, "Thank you very much for your gifts." In 2 days, a bill of 3 lakh of rupees came from the British dwellers. The Maharaja was happy that though he had lost 3 lakh of rupees, he had managed to retain his kingdom. Even though he had lost 3 lakh of rupees, he is happy that he had managed somehow to retain his kingdom, to save his throne from the hands of the British government. Here you can notice that the Maharaja is so much greedy that he wanted to save his kingdom, even though the hard earned money of the people, the subjects, that was given as a bribe to the British officer's wife for his own purpose, to save his throne, or you can say continue his hobby. Now, in the fourth section of this chapter, we will get to know that how the Tiger King completed his tally of 99 tigers killing. The Maharaja's tiger hunts continued to be highly successful. Within 10 years, he was able to kill 70 tigers. In 10 years, he completed 70 tigers. And then an unforeseen hurdle, a barrier, brought his mission to a standstill. The tiger population became extinct. Now the tigers are no more now. They are not existing in the forest of Pratibandhapuram. Who knows whether the tigers practiced birth control or committed harakiri. Either they are practicing birth control or harakiri, a kind of suicide which was prevailing in Japan when some samurai is to avoid some disrespect, and he is committing suicide with his own sword. That act is called harakiri, committing suicide, or simply run away from the state because they desire to be shot by British hands alone. One day the Maharaja sent for the Diwan. Diwan Sahib, aren't you aware of the fact that 30 tigers still remain to be shot down by this gun of mine? He asked, brandishing his gun, waving. He was having a gun in his hand and he was waving it and showing it to the Diwan, and asked him that 30 tigers are still remaining. Shuddering at the sight of the gun, trembling with fear. He was trembling with fear. At the sight of the gun, the Diwan cried out, "Your Majesty, I am not a tiger." "Which idiot would call you a tiger?" "No, and I am not a gun. The Diwan is completely confused, out of his wits, and he is making extravagant remarks. You are neither tiger nor gun. Diwan Sahib, I summoned you here for a different purpose. I have decided to get married. The Diwan began to babble even more. Your Majesty, I have 2 wives already. If I marry you, don't talk nonsense. In bafflement, the Diwan is making such kind of nonsense remarks. Why should I marry you? What I want is a tiger. Your Majesty, please think it over. Your ancestors were married to the sword. If you like, marry the gun. Tiger King is more than enough for this state. It doesn't need a Tiger Queen as well. We do not need Tiger Queen. We have Tiger King with us. The Maharaja gave a loud crack of laughter. I am not thinking of marrying either a tiger or a gun, but a girl from a tiger from the rank of human beings. First, you may draw statistics of tiger population in the different native states. Next, you may investigate if there is a girl I can marry in the royal family of a state with a large tiger population. Now, there is an idea in the mind of the king that now there is no more tiger in his own state. So, if he marry a girl in whose state tiger population is huge, then he will get 30 more tigers very soon. So he asked the Diwan to make a statistics, prepare a data of the tiger population in the native states, and then find out a suitable match for him, a princess from the royal family, and he will marry that princess who is having the most tiger population in her state. The Diwan followed his orders. He found the right girl from a state which possessed a large number of tigers. Maharaja Jang Bahadur killed 5 or 6 tigers each time he visited his father-in-law. In this manner, 99 tiger skins decorated the walls of the reception hall in the Pratibandhapuram Palace. Now, in the reception hall of Pratibandhapuram Palace, 99 tiger skins are decorating the walls. So, in such a manner, he has completed his 99 killings of tigers. This is the last section, section 5. Here we will read that how Tiger King completed his vow, his oath, and how nature takes its revenge upon the Tiger King for killing 100 tigers. The Maharaja's anxiety reached a fever pitch, highest level, when there remained just one tiger to achieve his tally of 100. Tally means total. Total of 100. Only one tiger is remaining. He had this one thought during the day and the same dream at night. By this time, the tiger forms had run dry. There is no tiger left in the tiger forms, even in his father-in-law's kingdom, nor in his own, neither in his own nor in his father-in-law's kingdom. It became impossible to locate tigers anywhere, yet only one more was needed. If he could kill just one, that single beast, the Maharaja would have no fears left. He could give up tiger hunting altogether. He will leave the tiger hunting project altogether if he kills the last one tiger. But he had to be extremely careful with that last tiger. What had the late chief astrologer said? Now, at this moment, at the moment of killing the 100 tiger, the chief astrologer who was saying that he will burn all his books and he will cut his tuft and all this, and he will become an insurance agent. That chief astrologer is no more now. He is late chief astrologer. Even after killing 99 tigers, the Maharaja should beware of the 100th. True enough, the tiger was a savage beast, dangerous beast, dangerous animal. After all, one had to be wary of it, cautious. One had to be very much cautious of it, wary. But where was that hunter tiger to be found? It seemed easier to find tiger's milk than a live tiger. A live tiger is impossible to be found in his own state and in his father-in-law's state as well. So it is easy to find a tiger's milk. Means small tigers, young tigers had also been killed by the Maharaja to complete the tally of his 100. Thus the Maharaja was sunk in gloom, but soon came the happy news which dispelled that gloom. In his own state, sheep began to disappear frequently from a hillside village. From a hillside village, a news came that sheep are regularly being disappeared, and there is a chance that tiger must be at work. Tiger must be eating those sheeps. Thus the Maharaja was It was first ascertained that this was not the work of Khadar Mian Sahib or Veer Sami Naikar. These two persons are famous, both famed for their ability to swallow sheep whole. They can eat a sheep in whole. But it was ascertained, it was made certain by analyzing the facts that this is not the work of these two persons. So if these two persons are not at work, surely some tiger is at work. Some tiger is killing those sheep. Surely a tiger was at work. The villagers ran to inform the Maharaja. The Maharaja announced a 3-year exemption. Maharaja was so happy that in his happiness he was mad, and in such a unwitting state of mind he made this assertion that a 3-year exemption from all taxes for that village, and set out on the hunt at once. The tiger was not easily found. It seemed as if it had wantonly hid itself in order to flout the Maharaja's will. Disregard the Maharaja's will. It means that the tiger was not at all found in the forests of that hillside village. The tiger was not easily found. Maharaja was equally determined. He refused to leave the forest until the tiger was found. Maharaja was resolute, and he decided to set his residence at the hillside village so that he may be able to kill the tiger, and then only he will leave the forest. But that was a drastic situation for the village itself. Many officers lost their jobs. Why? As the days passed, the Maharaja's fury, anger, and obstinacy, stubbornness mounted alarmingly. Many officers lost their jobs. One day, when his rage was at its height, the Maharaja called the Diwan and ordered him to double the land tax forthwith. Forthwith means with immediate effect. He is to double the tax for this village because the villagers gave him a false news, a fake news of the presence of a tiger in their village, and he couldn't find any tiger in the village. So as a punishment, the villagers have to pay double tax. But Diwan is very much careful. He says that the people will become dissatisfied, then our state too will fall a prey to the Indian National Congress. Some freedom movement will start in our state as well. So please do not double the tax. In that case, you may resign from your post, said the king. The king straightforwardly asked the Diwan that he should double the tax or leave his post. The Diwan went home convinced that if the Maharaja did not find the tiger soon, the results could be catastrophic disaster. It means that the Diwan is very much convinced. He was convinced that if the Maharaja did not find tiger soon, the results of his presence in the hillside village could be dangerous, of extreme. He felt life returning to him only when he saw the tiger which had been brought from the People's Park in Madras. He brought a tiger from People's Park. People's Park is a zoo, and from that zoo he brought a tiger and kept hidden in his house. The tiger is so old that he kept it hidden in his own house. At midnight, when the town slept in peace, the Diwan and his aged wife dragged the tiger to the car and shoved it into the seat. They fitted it into the back seat of the car, and then the Diwan himself drove the car straight to the forest where the Maharaja was hunting, and they planted the tiger in the forest where the Maharaja was. When they reached the forest, the tiger launched its satyagraha. But the problem is that when they reached the tiger was not at all ready to get out of the car, and they had to drag the beast. The Diwan was thoroughly exhausted in his efforts to haul the beast out of the car and push it down to the ground. They pushed the tiger out of the car and thrown it on the ground where the Maharaja was. On the following day, the same old tiger wandered into the Maharaja's presence and stood as if in humble supplication, as if it was begging, "Master, what do you command of me?" It was with boundless joy. The Maharaja was out of his joy when he saw that 100 tiger. That the Maharaja took careful aim at the beast. The tiger fell in a crumpled heap. He targeted the tiger with his gun. He made a shot, and tiger fell down on the ground. "I have killed the 100 tiger. My vow has been fulfilled. My oath has been fulfilled." The Maharaja was overcome with elation, happiness, joy. Maharaja was very happy. Ordering the tiger to be brought to the capital in grand procession. Grand celebration should be there, and he ordered to brought the dead body of the tiger with a celebration. The Maharaja hastened away in his car. Maharaja went away in his car because ultimately he had conquered his woe, and he had killed 100 tigers. After the Maharaja left, the hunters went to take a closer look at the tiger. Now it is the work of the hunters to take the dead body of the beast. But when they closely watched, the tiger was alive. The tiger looked back at them, rolling its eyes in bafflement, confusion. Both are confused. Both means the tiger as well as the hunters. The man realized that the tiger was not dead. The bullet had missed it. It had fainted from the shock of the bullet whizzing past. When the bullet passed just nearby the tiger, it fainted and fell down on the ground. The hunters wondered what they should do. Now the problem is before the hunters that if they are telling this truth to the Maharaja, certainly they will lose their jobs. So they decided that the Maharaja must not come to know that he had missed his target. If he did, they could lose their jobs. One of the hunters took aim from a distance of 1 foot and shot the tiger. This time he killed it without missing his mark, without any difficulty, without missing his mark. The hunter killed the 100th tiger. So, friends, you must realize that up to this point, Tiger King has killed only 99 tigers. The 100th tiger has been killed by the hunters. 100 tiger is still remaining for the Tiger King. Then, as commanded by the king, the dead tiger was taken in procession through the town and buried. A tomb was erected over it. A tomb was made, A few days later, the Maharaja's son's third birthday was celebrated. Until then, the Maharaja had given his entire mind over to tiger hunting. He had had no time to spare for the crown prince. You can realize that even Maharaja is not having proper time, proper attention towards his own family. But now the king turned his attention to the child. He wished to give him some special gift on his birthday. He went to the shopping center in Pratibandhapuram and searched every shop but couldn't find anything suitable. Finally, he spotted a wooden tiger in a toy shop and decided it was a perfect gift. He went to a shopping mall to buy a gift for his son's third birthday, and he ultimately found a wooden tiger as a suitable gift for his son's birthday. The wooden tiger cost only 2 annas and a quarter. But the shopkeeper knew that if he quotes such a low price to the Maharaja, he would be punished under the rules of the emergency. So he said, Your Majesty, this is an extremely rare example of craftsmanship. A bargain at 300 rupees. In those days, it was a huge amount, 300 rupees for a wooden tiger. The people are so afraid of their king that they couldn't even speak truth. So this is the real situation of the state. Very good. Let this be your offering to the crown prince on his birthday, said the king, and took it away with him. On that day, father and son played with that tiny little wooden tiger. It had been carved by an unskilled carpenter. It was made by an unskilled carpenter. Its surface was rough. Tiny slivers. Slivers means the spiky and tiny parts of its surface of wood stood up like quills all over it. One of those slivers pierced the Maharaja's right hand. It entered into the Maharaja's right hand. It injured the Maharaja's right hand. He pulled it out with his left hand and continued to play with the prince. When the Maharaja was playing with the prince using that wooden tiger, a piece of wood pierced into in his right hand, and he pulled it out and continued playing. The next day, infection spread in his right hand. In 4 days, it developed into a suppurating sore which spread all over the arm. In 4 days, a sore developed. Sore means the injury which is causing pain. Suppurating, which is leading to the formation of pus. So the pus is getting fermented into his right hand and it became a sore which spread all over the arm. 3 famous surgeons were brought in from Madras. After holding a consultation, they decided to operate. The operation took place. The 3 surgeons who performed it came out of the theatre and announced the operation was successful. The Maharaja is dead. This is the irony of the death of the Maharaja. Operation was successful, but the Maharaja died. In this manner, the hunter tiger took its revenge upon the tiger king. In this fashion, the nature has taken its revenge upon the tiger king for killing 100 tigers in the state of Pratibandhapuram and in the state of his father-in-laws. So this is all about the text of the chapter, friends. In the next video, we will discuss the short summary of this chapter through a mind map, and we will discuss some questions and answers that have appeared in the previous year's CBSE question papers. Thank you very much. Please share, subscribe and like my videos. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.